Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy to be here. Happy fucking New Year's, motherfuckers. But really, this has been a slow fucking start to the year. I've been sick for like 2 weeks. So sorry I missed last week. My son was really sick, but I'm here now. Let's chat, let's talk. Today we're going to be discussing fungus gnats. We're going to talk about the Autoflower update, general garden update, some things I've got going on. What up, bully man, cat lady? Happy New Year! Disbanded Brotherhood, yay! Welcome, everybody. So in a couple of the videos back, I had inoculated my Victor, what up? Robert Rittenhouse, yo. This is an Ask Me Anything, but you know I can talk, so feel free to throw things in the chat. Yes, are fungus gnats worse this year than others? Goddamn, it seems like they are for me. And so I usually don't mind if there's a little fungus gnat here and there because I have so many houseplants that it's kind of ridiculous to be able to get rid of all of them. Just saying, like, I have where my autoflower plants are, I probably have like 20 other potted plants. So I am getting ready for a mushroom grow along, though, the mono tub grow along. If you guys want to join in, I should pop the link in the description. I'll pop it in the chat right now. So basically, this is my second mushroom grow along, and we're doing what is it? It's a penis envy hybrid strain, and you get inoculated grains, the cocoa coir, and the vermiculite. And been playing around with adding gypsum, and so I may add that to that, but that's beside the point. Last time I did the grow along, I had fucking fungus gnats inside. Well, not even fungus gnat, fruit flies inside of my mono tub. Probably some fungus gnats got in there too. And so I'm trying to like get rid of all of these stupid fucking flies before I get my mono tub going again because I really don't want to contaminate. Yeah, exactly. Pushed them both back. Now we can concentrate on growth instead of getting rid of bugs. And I don't even really mind bugs that bad, to be honest. I'm like, bugs are especially outdoors. I love bugs. But yes, let's chat later on the gypsum for sure, cat lady. So, mushroom grow along can be easily contaminated with bugs getting in there. So I'm just like trying to knock back all of the fungus gnats as I possibly can. I killed my worms because I just put them outside because I had so many fruit flies coming out of my worm bin in my kitchen. It was like just awful. So a few videos back, I put the BTI in, which did a really good job of knocking back. I had like barely any fungus gnats, and I applied the BTI to all of my houseplants, like every single fucking one. But they came back, and I should have been doing it every week. You're supposed to apply it once a week. I've applied it once every like week and a half. Keeping cardboard on top keeps them out. Yeah, I've heard of that as well. I could try it. I could definitely try it, and the fungus would love it. It's not like I'm watering that much, but I wanted to add silica anyway, more silica, and I was using silica earth granular, and I ran out, and I was like, oh, DE, diatomaceous earth, is pretty much all silica. So I was like, well, I'm just going to cover. When I'm outdoors, I usually put granular, like the hard granular diatomaceous earth around the stalks of my plants because of its structure. It just cuts up the bodies of the insects. So I was like, well, everyone has diatomaceous earth. It's just a super easy way to combat fungus gnats, or any insect that's going to crawl out of the soil surface. And when it gets watered in, it's going to dissolve Once it dissolves, it's not effective at killing insects, but it's going to add silica into my medium, which I need more silica. Yeah, exactly. Let the bodies hit the floor. You should see the whole fucking like the top of my DE now is just covered in little tiny decaying bodies, dead bodies everywhere. So that was like the thought behind it. It was like, oh, I need to get silica and I need to kill these fucking gnats before my mushroom grow along goes off. So did the DE. I really haven't been using or watering very much on these autoflowers. It's just like my ambient temperature in my house is like, 69 to 71 degrees. And I watered in that BTI and then I didn't water them for like a week and a half because they didn't need it. And then I was like, well, I'm going to put some more BTI. What up, Brian? So another thing you can do for fungus gnats though, I wrote a cannabis pest guide and it's pretty nifty because it's a PDF that includes links to all of the products that I use. So you can I don't even think you can share screen in this. I'm not a YouTuber. I mean, I am a YouTuber. I'm going to become a YouTuber. I am YouTubing right now, so therefore I am a YouTuber, but fungus gnats, you can use SF nematodes. So there's like a bunch of different varieties, species, subspecies of nematodes, and the SF ones will go after fungus gnat larvae. So that is something to consider. But I'm really, I'm like thinking of this as what is super easy. Like you can get diatomaceous earth at Home Depot. That's where we got it. Like almost everything I've been using has been pretty much accessible at like any general garden center. Although the Organics Alive for sure and like the sprays have definitely been more cannabis specific. But I love the Organics Alive. It's oh yeah. Exactly. My humidity is really high because of the grow. Cat Lady was saying, so I do a Tuesday night live stream on my Patreon, and we were talking about humidity. And my house is so fucking humid. I have to run a dehumidifier because we use our grow room basically to heat the house, and we're exhaling all of that hot, humid air into our house, and it heats it up, but it also makes it muggy as fuck, which is good for like breathing, I guess. You can also use predatory mites for fungus gnats. Hypos, man, I'm not going to say this right. Hypoaspis mites. Miles is another effective biological control. But again, like I'm not ordering fucking biologicals for my little autoflowers in the kitchen. This is just a fun little experiment to see what you can get with some cheap ass lights in your kitchen. So like if we wanted to give our grandma some autoflower seeds, we could be like, yo, here's a little 3-gallon fabric pot. Here's some good soil. Here's some amendments. Everything you can get at Home Depot. Fucking do it. I know it like goes against though. I'm using a mini fogger, which I mean you could get at Home Depot too, I guess, but I'm not gonna completely neglect my plants just for this experiment. So they did get sprayed last week and they are loving life. I know I had said that like 2 out of the 5 were like doing amazing and the other 3 were like so like nothing to write home about. But one of them just blew up and like grew. I mean, it's going through its stretch, I guess, and it's just it looks beautiful. It's caught up to the other 2. So I have 3 really solid plants going into just about to go into flower. We're in like, I don't know, in day 40 something of their life cycle, 44, 45. And I'm impressed so far. I'm happy with how it's fun. I really to be honest, like my name, my business, Queen of the Sun Grown, right? Because I don't fucking like going into the grow room. I get annoyed. I mean, my tent is okay. I've got 2 tents, but the actual grow room, you should see it. My husband has built like the canopy management for our indoor room, which we got some fire strains going on. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, Queen of the Sun Grown, but I posted on my stories the top of the canopy, and it's the most full. We just packed it in. We played around with the VPD, tried to change some of the lights, tried to change around some airflow to help. We had a couple hot spots that I was noticing, and when you have higher intensity of lighting and a variation in humidity, and you can cause lockouts, you can cause nutrient deficiencies. There are some problems happening, and now it seems like we are, yay, welcome Missouri, Kyle Hines, yo yo yo, Missouri in the house. I had fun at that Missouri Living Soil class, man. I love the South, you guys. I have been trying to convince my my hubby, like, yo, we should move to Arkansas. It's fucking cold here in Washington. I love my family, but I love the South. I love the food. I love the gentlemen and the ladies and Southern hospitality, but he's not about it. So no Arkansas. Hopefully I'll go there to visit. KOTS, the show with Luna. We were doing that with this guy Ken. He's all about the biology, and it was just, it didn't, both me and her talked about it, and we were like, this just isn't really like the education that we want to present. Like, it was mostly about interviewing other people, which it's great for people who want to have that kind of a show. But both Luna and I were like, we asked Ken if we could just do the show together. Like, hey, we have more fun with just us. But, that's not the direction he's going, and we all kind of have our own direction. So I'm sure I'll work with Luna more in the future. I love that girl, and she's hella smart, and we are on kind of the same wavelength. So check her out on Future Cannabis Project, though. Yo, she's doing some fun things. Yeah, exactly. Infomercial show versus topical. Yep, exactly. So we were like, this is just like not fun to like have people on here who are just talking about their products. Like, we just want to talk about the stuff that we're learning and we're researching. But yes, I love Luna. Still probation state. What? Scotty Timmons, Kentucky weather's fabulous, man. I know. I was just looking at 100 acres in Kentucky with a homestead, with goats, chicken, a whole running farm, and they were like $280,000 for the whole setup, house, animals, equipment. I'm like, honey, look at this. Like, we can't afford that shit here. Look at how we could just move there right away and have our little farm. And it's not like we ain't been outlaws before. That's kind of our drawback is prohibition states, is we want to stay in a legal state so we can have our medical garden, because life changes after you have a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, before I didn't mind breaking the law, allegedly, or doing things that were questionable, but I got a son to think about. Yes, cat lady, commune in Virginia, I'm down. I'm about it. I just got to convince Ian. Maybe after Enzo's older. But thanks for not being an AC Infinity pimp on your channels. It's like it is for many channels. Interesting. Yeah. No, I'm a pimp for myself, yo. So support Queen of the Sun Grown. Buy some Yucca. No. Sign up for my Patreon. Check out my website. This is my job. I'm not trying to pimp out for anybody else but me. Yes, that area is beautiful. I'm going to Georgia in hell yeah, Oklahoma. What up? I love Oklahoma. I missed Terp Float this year, but I had a lot of fun there the year before. I haven't really been traveling much for any cannabis stuff. I've just been hunkering in for the grow. I mean, we've have a nonstop indoor going. We've got 2 tents and a little room in our garage, and it's like, what, 9 lights, so, and staggered harvest, so there's always something going on. We really can't, self-pimping ain't easy. I love the comments. I'm here for this. Yeah. And then, outdoor season, I'm already getting stuff in the works for outdoor season. I'm so excited. I have a grow along for the outdoor season coming up that is going to be sponsored by the Humboldt Seed Company. So I'll have my website updated with information, and y'all can, science is pimping it. Exactly. Yes, the Humboldt Seed Company just dropped a bunch of new strains, so I'm really excited to do this grow along and do a citizen science project where we're going to be collecting data. So instead of like winning prizes for having the biggest dick, no, just kidding. Like whatever. Oh, I like this. This weed looks the best, smokes the best. It's going to be prizes for participating the most in the Citizen Science Project, which is a data collection that I have been talking about since, I don't know, over a year and a half, but it's like too much for me alone to do. And so my thought behind this is that why do cannabis seeds not have suggested USDA hardiness zone like planting dates, right? Like on a regular packet of seeds, you're like, if you're in zone, good for zone 7B to 12B or something, and it'll tell you like a general plant by April 15th to May 15th or something, like range with the hardiness zones. That's on all seed packets, but they don't do that for cannabis. And so my thought is, if we can start collecting data from outdoor growers as the end of prohibition is coming and people are able to grow outside, not only will this help breeders, but this is going to help everyone grow better and not fuck up. I mean, how many, coming from California, I knew when I could plant outdoor. I would be like, okay, June 1st for my clones outside. March, I could put my seeds outside. And then moving up to Washington, it's like fucking snowing on Mother's Day. Good zones on cannabis seeds to grow outdoors. I mean, you can grow outdoors in any zone technically. It just has to be the right strain that has a shorter flowering time. So that's what the whole point of this is. And we're just assuming full sun, yeah. But in the grow along, we will have a data collection for light deppers, because I'm gonna do light dep for sure, just to get my flowers to trigger in a flower a little earlier, because that's the thing with that you don't take into consideration. Hardiness zones are only about first and last frost date, which is good for starting seeds, but the farther away you are from the equator, you're going to have a variation in the length of day and night. And so that's going to change when your seeds are going to go in, or your plants are going to go into flower. So like for me in California, I could expect mid-July to start seeing pistils and the transition into flower, seeing that stretch, huge abundant growth. In Washington, I didn't set flowers until first, second week of August, because I'm so much further from the equator up by the border of Canada that I have way longer days, shorter nights for longer in the season. So that's going to affect your outdoor season and when you're growing. So that's going to affect the types of strains that you can grow, or maybe some strains are going to be more or less sensitive to light changes, which we know that's true, right? So there's a lot of room for data collection, and this is just going to be like one step in that direction. And I'm just excited to get people to grow along together outside and give their data and win prizes for collecting the most data for science. And participating in something that isn't just about how cool you are or how you grow the best weed. Because look at it, I mean, everyone thinks they grow the best weed. Like, really, every single professional weed grower, even non-professional, I know, thinks that their weed is like the best. So this is going to be for science and the love of just growing outside. And I would love it if I could get a sponsor for testing to get at least terpene testing, like terpene testing done. I think that most of the time cannabinoid and terpenes are paneled together. So that would be, you know, something that I would hope to be able to Aw, thank you. Continuous learning is a thing, and why you join the Patreon. Yes, please join my Patreon. I appreciate it. Every single month I go on a different topic. So like last month was sulfate minerals, and I just published a recipe for the Jadam sulfur, which I was all spurred from this conversation that I had with another YouTuber who was pushing one of his products, and was like one of the reasons why I was like, God, I hate doing these in interview style podcast things, because it's just somebody trying to sell their shit to me or to my listeners. And I wanted the science, and he didn't give me the science behind the product. And so I went on like this deep dive of like sulfate minerals, what they do, like their intrinsic value for just being a sulfate mineral. So what is that? Like gypsum and sorry, I have to blow my nose, guys. Gypsum and Epsom salts, those are like sulfate minerals. So they do all kinds of amazing things. So I wrote an article about it, and then I went ahead and put up the recipe for the Jadam sulfur. And interestingly, it has from the book, the Cho's book, it has azomite and loess. Loess is a type of sedimentary like soil type that is specifically created through erosion and weathering, I believe. And it has a lot of minerals, trace minerals, and so does azomite, right? Azomite is A to Z, and it's supposed to contain all of those minerals. And so then he's using it's a crazy science experiment, but adding the elemental sulfur in there and then combining it with these minerals is going to create a sulfate mineral product. And I was like, holy shit, the Jadam sulfur is like the fucking I'm not going to name the product of who I'm talking about because I don't want to be like a shit talker, but it's ridiculously expensive. It's like $70 for a little bottle, and you can make Jadam sulfur for like pennies on the dollar. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Share recipes and knowledge on how to make things cheaper and more sustainable, right? And that is sustainability. What are a few different ways you use your Yucca? I use it I put it in every single root drench because it's a wetting agent. It's a surfactant. It reduces the surface tension of water, so it makes your water droplets spread further. So it's going to allow all of your waterings to penetrate better. It's also high in polysaccharides, which are sugars for bacteria to feed on. Think about it. It's a root. It's full of all of the things that roots are packed full of. It's also grown in the desert. It grows in the desert in places that are really dry and lacking in water. So it helps increase your plant's resistance to heat and drought stress. It also contains plant hormones like IAA, indole acetic acid, which are known for elongating cells. And then using it it also creates bubbles and foaming agent, which helps spread your root drenches throughout your your soil. And then using it for foliar application, it helps spread it around your leaf surface as well. So I love Yucca. That's why I'm selling that product, because I found the only other powdered Yucca that I could find online or like to order or buy, even in the fucking my favorite grow shop, which was Peaceful Valley. they would sell the Yucca Thermex 70, which was like a liquid in a bottle. I don't want to buy a fucking water bottle. I want powder. Why do you? It's an extract. It's a powder. And Raw Gardens sells the Yucca in powder, but their shit is so expensive. It's like 2 ounces is, I want to say, $30, and I was able to buy the yucca from the farm in Arizona. I had to buy 200 pounds of it though. So that's why I'm selling it. And uh it's like I'm able to package it and sell it on my website for $20 for 4 ounces, where Raw Gardens is selling 2 ounces for like $30. And I'm just like, why the fuck? And their powder, they're the only other powder yucca that I could find. And I use it for all of my garden, everything, foliar and root trench. And so, and a lot of people use it. A lot of people buy fucking the Thermex 70 from Build a Soil or whatever, and it costs a bunch of money to pay for shipping for a water bottle. It's bullshit. So yeah, that's why I use. Yes, please order it. I got hella yucca, so much yucca. I even offered free yucca. I have it up on the website, but y'all, I said, I got a free sample of yucca. It's like half ounce. I will send it to you. You just have to pay for shipping because everyone wants free stuff. I can't afford to pay for everybody's shipping of it. But somebody, if you're listening, I'm calling you out right now, motherfucker. Somebody ordered 3 free things of it. And I was like, nah, that's so, you get one. You get one. I don't know how to limit it on my Shopify. If I can, if there's a way that it could be only one per customer, but I got a child to feed here. You got to go on and order it, Victor. You got to go. I literally had so many people hitting me up for some of that yucca sample that I created a product on my Shopify, so you can literally order the sample and it'll do it all. Yeah, right? I know. Cat lady laughing. It's fucking 3 samples. What are you trying to do? I know. It's so tiny. It's 1/16 a teaspoon per 3 gallons. So it's like, that's probably why these people charge so much, because they're like, oh, you buy one and you're set for life. 1/16 a teaspoon, not even a tablespoon. Like, it's so tiny amount, and instantly your water is going to start bubbling and foaming up. And so it's like, it does such a good job at what it does. And I do have to say a disclaimer, like, don't breathe it in, because it does create like a soapy effect. The first time I tried packaging it, I didn't wear a mask and I breathed it in and I got like mucusy nose. And I have pounds of it, Scotty. I got packaged pounds. I got 4 ounces and I got half-ounce samples. So whatever you need, I got it. You want it? I got it. Dripping like water. It's on my Shopify. What is the website address? It is www.queenofthesungrown.com. Really easy. I'm trying to make it simple for everyone to find me and find my stuff. It's just the same name on Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Queen of the Sungrown. Even though I got fucking shadow banned, haters gonna hate, whatever. I'm gonna keep spitting what I do and just keep on doing me, being me. You're welcome. Thank you. But we're digressing off onto tangents, which is what I'm known for. Yucca slanging yucca everywhere. I'm hustling yucca. No, but let's talk about like what else review of the video. It's been, like I said, I've been so sick, so I've just been like just trying to fucking, is it better water into the soil or as a soluble? It's better. Yes, it's a soil surfactant as well. It's raining yucca. Victor, what do you mean? Is it better to water it in the soil or as a soluble? It is soluble. But put it in your teas last because it bubbles like crazy. So if I'm doing like any kind of aerated nutrient tea, whether it's just, I make all of my nutrient mixes myself. Like I'll buy, okay, for veg, I'm going to be making either fish emulsion or fish powder with humic, kelp, yucca, aloe. I do use Organics Alive for my small containers because it's hard for, that's the thing that I was talking about in the last YouTube video, was that like going from being an outdoor grower where I had in the ground massive beds, I was relying on the soil food web to break down my nutrients as well as enzymes. That sprouted seed tea is packed full of enzymes, specifically the phosphatases, which is what is going to solubilize or make phosphorus available. So that's really important since phosphorus tends to get tied up to soil particles. But like I was focusing on just allowing the soil food web to do its thing. But you know what? Not everybody can rely on that. Some people have to use smaller containers, right? Like that's just the thing. You got to do what you got to do, and not everybody has room for a fucking 4x8 living soil bed or can plant out directly in the ground. So sorry, is it better to water it in the soil or use as a soluble or adding into water to drench the soil? Add it into your water to drench the soil, and then also it's amazing for foliar application. So you can use it for foliar, you can use it for root drench. Like I said, it's such a small amount that I use it in everything. It's just great. But like I was saying, when we're growing organics and we're growing with trying to use living soil, we need to be in the mindset that we are managing an ecosystem. That's my background, right? I went to school for environmental science, ecology. That's what I worked as before getting into the weed cannabis industry. So I think of the world like an ecosystem, and I think about how we all interact with different species. And so that is the way that I approach my living soil bed, is an ecosystem. And I know from ecology that you can't, oh dude, homie, Stangman, I ordered the Q to see what's up. The Q doesn't even have as many plant hormones, the IAA levels that Yucca has, and it's so fucking expensive. And it has pretty much the exact same efficacy. Like I talked to big ag people. The person that I was buying from the farm from the Yucca, he also grows and sells the Q, and he was like, I'm really low on it. The Q is used in vaccines, and so because it's used for vaccines, they were running short after COVID. They had to like buy it all up for the fucking vaccines, and to me, that's not sustainable. Like, I'm not going to pay for something if there's two products that do a really good job of the same thing. One's super expensive and it's also being used for vaccines, where that's like, why am I going to buy the thing? Supply and demand, basic economics. I'm going to go with the cheaper thing that's going to be, work just as effectively and if not better for different reasons because of that IAA concentration that I'm looking for. Anyway, back to living soil. The approach of looking at everything as like an ecosystem allows you to think about your living soil bed in those terms of how do populations of different species interact with one another. And if you have taken any ecology classes, there's this there's R selected species and K selected species. And everything in living soil is pretty much going to be that boom and bust, like rapidly reproducing. And then what happens is they are given a food source and they will boom, explode their population. And then eventually the resource runs out and then they die off really quickly. And that's that J curve that we see in ecology of different species. So if you are in a container, your populations are going to go through this over and over again as you're adding and they're eating up their resources. So in order for you to maximize your nutrient cycling, you have to make sure that those populations are they're efficiently doing their job, fighting, fucking, killing each other, creating enzymes and acids that are breaking down those nutrients, giving them to, transferring them for root exits of the plant. But unless you have a microscope and you're constantly looking at it, or you're adding in your bacteria all the time, every single time, which at the same time, it's like, how do you even know that that bacteria is, how active it is? You know what I'm saying? Like I took some of the bacteria that is Aspergillus and put it under my microscope so I could see like what was going on. And um I scoped the entire slide and exactly build a wallet. Hey, I said I wasn't gonna talk any shit around here. You guys you know don't get me going. I have to buy some things from Build a Soil though sometimes. Like I just bought that potassium silicate, which I normally buy the AgSil 16H bulk, but they only sell it direct from the company for 50-pound bags. I'm not growing hella weed anymore. I'm just growing in my medical garden and teaching. Just trying to be a good girl sitting at home taking care of my baby. I'm not trying to be sending packs and growing boxes. And I don't need to buy 50 pounds of potassium silicate. So I'm looking around. Where can I find this? Where can I find this? Because it's a great foliar to put that that silica in there. And Build a Soil was the cheapest, and the only thing that I could find locally was the Build a Soil potassium silicate. And they have top shelf products. Definitely. Like, if I was super rich and money wasn't a problem, or a question, like, oh, I just spend money on whatever I want. Sure, maybe I would order more things from Build a Soil, although I hate ordering stuff. Like, I would rather, I actually have a problem ordering things because I don't like living in the city and being around people. So now that I live in a city, before when I lived in California, it was a tiny little town. I loved going to the grow shop and hanging out, shooting the shit. Now I get like social anxiety being in Spokane with all these people around that I have to like act like a normal person. And where I lived before, everyone was a pot grower. So it's just like, oh, let's go talk about growing weed for an hour at the grow shop. Not here. So I do order things. Hold on one sec. Oh my god, I'm so sick. Would diatomaceous earth and water foliar feed not give some silica? Does it have to break down? I think that it would. But I need to explore that more because I know that the different forms, I think that DE is SiO2, silicon dioxide. And so I'm pretty sure that it will separate out because the hydrogen in your water will help separate the oxygen from the silicon, and that it would just be left over. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure that you can just use DE for foliar as well. But I ordered the potassium silicate like a while ago before I had gotten the DE, and I don't know why. I'm just used to using potassium silicate for foliar over silicon dioxide. And maybe there's a reason for it that I have studied before and I'm not thinking of on offhand, but I will look into that. And next week, Scotty, I will have an answer for you on the efficacy of silicon dioxide versus potassium silicate for foliar feeding. And then the ground mustard meal for fungus gnats from Build a Soil works great. Okay. Could you just like put some fucking ground mustard seasoning on your plant? I have neem meal, and I was going to do neem meal, which I know that they don't like that either. Neem is a natural Ayurvedic, it slows down the reproduction of anything. Like men can take neem oil, like men like you guys and regular human beings, and it will slow down their sperm so that it works as a natural birth control for men. And so when you use neem, which I use neem meal in all of my soil mixes, well, most of all, I shouldn't say that's hyperbolic. I always have neem meal on hand, but I didn't put it in this mix, which I should have. I just didn't want to. I was being lazy because the neem meal was a huge bag, and I didn't want to go get it out of the garage. My garage is a fucking disaster. I have 2 yard totes of soil blocking the walkway, the 4x8 tent, the veg room, the flower room, and I pretty much just tell my husband, I don't want to go in the garage. Like, if I need something, can you please just get me this out of the garage, because it's such a tight space to work in and it stresses me the fuck out. You tried, David, you tried mustard seasoning. Oh, I'm so sorry that it killed your ladies. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I was wondering that. I'm gonna try the neem meal though. Thank you, Roger. Yay, staying man. Yay, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna sprinkle the neem meal on. I just literally, these plants barely need any water. Like, I have so much humidity in my air. It's not very hot, so they're not losing it to evapotranspiration. And they are just, it was super moist soil, and they're small plants, they're only 5 weeks old. I just, maybe 6 weeks now. 6 weeks old. Oh, they're growing up so fast. So I had thought about putting the neem meal in as well to see if that would help with the fungus gnats just slowing down, because it has that natural, to help, especially with these species that just populate really quickly, like fungus gnats. If we can slow down their reproductive rate, slow down the molting, slow down everything, it can give us a chance to just knock them back, get a handle on them. But I barely have any fungus gnats now, and my pots don't need to be watered. The DE just did it. Wear a mask though, like for real. Silicosis is a condition of breathing in a silica, and it can fuck up your lungs because it's tiny little sharp fossilized diatoms. Diatoms are microorganisms that live inside the ocean, and they fossilize into diatomaceous earth, and that's what we're using. It's literally, like I said, it's all that's in there, I believe, is just silicon dioxide. And if you breathe it in, it can cut your lungs up. So I just wear a mask. I honestly prefer coarse ground, always coarse ground, diatomaceous earth, but they didn't have it at Home Depot, and I was like trying to keep it like, what can I buy here locally? I couldn't find anything except for like a giant bag, and I needed it. Man, I miss Peaceful Valley where I could get the coarse ground. Yeah, but DE, they do make a coarse DE. And so when I was growing a lot outdoors in California, I would buy 50-pound bags of the coarse ground, and I could only find giant bags of the coarse ground online too. And I was like, I'm not going to order a 50-pound bag of coarse ground DE to ship to my house for some fucking 5 little tiny autoflower plants. But I like to use the coarse ground DE, which is just like a tiny, like a centimeter, like little, pebbles. And you put it around the stalks of your plants outdoors so that ants can't climb up them and farm aphids, and any kind of insect that crawls up from the soil surface, like those fucking caterpillars, the hornworms, tobacco hornworms. You brought your worm bin for the winter. I tried to bring my worm bin in for the winter. I fucking took them back out because they're filled with fruit flies. Adios, worms. You're dead. I'm sorry. I'll have to start over. But KOTS, yes, I use the mosquito bits. But like I was saying, I just can't water it in every week because I'm not watering every week. I don't need that much water. My plants are doing great. The soil isn't drying out. They're tiny. They're in the living soil. Those grassroots fabric living soil pots are amazing. You keep the hornworms away with the monster. I don't know what that means. Monterey BT. Yes. Yep. I use the Monterey BT as well. But I just love pulling those hornworms off of my plants. I haven't gotten them here in Washington, but in California, those fuckers would rather hold on to your plants so hard that they will like explode when you pull them away and green juice squeezes out of them. And my chickens would just go crazy when they'd see it. They'd be like, oh yeah, snack time. Um, it's closed loop farming, man. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Fungus gnats are pretty much all dead. There's a couple buzzing around because I didn't put DE on every single house plant. I was just like, man, I did all of the plants that were on that plant stand, but I've got hella plants all around there. And so I know I'm going to have fungus gnats from those other migrating over, but we're just going to keep them at bay, keep them low. Double D, I haven't reapplied it because I haven't had to water my plants since I've applied it. And I don't know what I'm going to do, honestly. I will post it in the video because this is the first time I've used that kind of fine powdery DE. Like I said, I usually use the coarse ground, and coarse ground DE, you can water it. That's why I like it. And yes, fighting the evil, I do use the sticky fly traps, but I like to use those more as a just to watch, like to monitor my population to see, okay, if I put a sticky fly trap out, how many adults are going to get stuck to it, because we really want to kill all the larvae that are living in the soil that are the ones that are feeding on our plants. Yes, it's great to kill those adults and then just monitor what your population's like. And grower mo, BTI, that's what we're using. We use BTI, we use DE, we use the sticky fly traps. I got neem meal. If I wanted to do the nematodes, maybe I would do it. But like I said, I don't even have really any left. There's a couple bottom water. I know that's what people have been saying, bottom water, but I don't have, it's not set up for the space. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I might just end up foliar feeding while if they stay heavy enough, and then maybe I could bottom water, I guess. We'll see. We'll see in the next Sunday night episode. Yes, water first. That's what I did. I watered first with the BTI, and then I covered it with the diatomaceous earth powder. And then I stuck sticky fly traps in there. Again, if you have neem meal, mix a little neem meal, sprinkle a little bit of that on top as well before you put the DE in, before you water in with a BTI. And that will also help slow down that population and really, really, what kind of BTI? Whatever you can find, like mosquito bits works. Royal Queen seeds are very nice. Thank you for having them. I don't know what that means, but yeah, mosquito bits. Any other questions, y'all? I'm starting to get hungry, so no, neem meal is nutrient. I use neem meal as one of my base in my soil mixes for a fertilizer. I believe it's a 464. But I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Or it might be a 461. Something like that. Eco Max is where I would use, is what the brand I would usually get, but that's because it's a 50-pound bag, but Down to Earth also has neem seed meal. It's an amazing nutrient, organic. The only downside is that it's like from India, so your carbon footprint of shipping it over, it's so hard when you're trying to like be sustainable to think about all these things. It's like, oh fuck, peat moss, you're ruining the peat bogs in Canada, but it's really close to me. I live like a hop, skip, and jump from Canada. So should I use cocoa coir? But then cocoa coir, because it's a byproduct of the coconut industry. Oh, I'm supporting byproducts, right? Because that's a waste. I'm turning something waste into value. That's closed loop farming. That's regenerative. Oh, but then I got to ship it from fucking Thailand. So is that really sustainable? Because how much gasoline did it cost? And was it picked and washed by slaves? I don't know. Neem seed meal smells like Indian food, and I'm hungry, y'all. So I'm going to let this one go tonight because I need to go I got salmon wild caught from my homie, dropped it off, bought some something from me, traded me. He traded me wild caught salmon for some weed. I got morels dried that I picked from the spring and a butternut squash roasting. And I'm going to have me a good healthy meal to help feed myself, because food is medicine, y'all. We pay attention to how much we feed our plants, what kind of source we're getting. Does it have heavy metals? Is it all organic? But what are you putting in your body? Because that is, you are the main ingredient for your plant success. So if you aren't taking care of yourself and you're not feeding yourself the good stuff, then really, how can you care so much about what you're putting into your plant? Yes. Good night, y'all. I will see you guys next Thursday, and I'll be dropping my next episode on Sunday. And I will check my cart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night, good night, good night.